This is actually brilliant of me.
Hello and welcome to episode number 135 of Unrelenting. I'm Darren O'Neill. He's Jin Nifterlievin because Elon's Department of Government Efficiency, we can no longer do that show here now, so we are going to just sign off. Thanks for coming along on the ride.
Thanks for all the fish.
We've been redundancied. We're gone. Did you like the graphics on the last Unrelenting? I thought that was a perfect bit of album art.
It was good. I didn't like the graphics that you sent to me, though.
Well, that's why I didn't post it.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, that would be it would be too CSB on the nose, mean kind of. It was hilarious art, though. I was like, okay, you got to send that.
It was in crappy style on purpose, but
yes,
the skyline of Austin was pretty damn accurate.
Really? Yeah, that I didn't catch because I'm not that familiar with it.
I mean, I literally knew the bridge that was on and the skyline is that skyline. I actually have a photo somewhere where I shot that's very similar to that.
That's hilarious. See, it's life imitating art. Maybe that's where it picked it up.
Yeah, maybe.
But
exactly. Oh, it scanned. Well, I had Adobe installed, so it scanned my collection of 80,000 photos that I've shot and decided to use them to feed the algorithm.
And went, this is something I can use. The AI algo. Where is it being sourced?
The next time somebody asks for a caricature of this guy, I have the perfect photo for it.
But the album art we used was great. It was like you in a little space thing with, I said an orange poncho, but obviously it gave you like an orange sweater hoodie kind of a thing.
It was a hoodie, I think, yeah.
But it was orange.
Mm-hmm.
And the beard didn't have any gray in it, so that wasn't completely realistic.
Authentic, yeah.
But then I redid
none of these AIs can actually make a beard as long as my beard is in real life. I've noticed that. No matter how many times I tell it longer beard, they can't do it.
It does. Well, this was pretty close, although isn't there a ZZ
belly
top
button.
filter?
It goes to the belly button, man.
You're like ZZ top filter. Just go.
Oh, please. Those guys are amateurs.
Yeah, but they make more money at their craft.
Well, yes, but in terms of bearding,
and one of them's dead now with the beard. So, I mean, there's that. There's only the one guy with the beard left now. So it's just kind of sad. Now it's just a guy with a beard rather than being a
which one died?
The bass player.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Because the drummer never had the beard, even though his name was
he
Beard.
had the mustache.
Yeah. So he should have been named Mustache, but his last name was Beard.
No.
Yeah, the drummer for ZZ Top.
Oh, I didn't know that.
His last name's Beard.
And he didn't have a beard. Yeah. What a doofus.
Well, it would get probably stuck on the drumsticks. You know what I'm saying?
No, it wouldn't get stuck on drumsticks. That's bullshit.
You'd have to put it in one of those little really douchey. You ever see the guys with the really long beard and then they put it into like a braided pigtail looking thing?
Have I seen those guys? Please. I was the world beard competition a couple of years back.
You're like, I was that guy.
It is full of those guys. Like, no, there's the award for creative beards where the guys have like a whole scene sculpted out of their beards.
There's a beard competition. I mean, isn't that when
there's a world beard competition? Yes.
To see who could be the best pairing for somebody that's gay that doesn't want to be known as gay. So you get to go to the beard competition where people.
No, that's the one in Chicago. You're thinking.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about the one that's an international world beard competition.
Totally different.
It happens in Zurich, Switzerland and Austin, Texas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a co-sponsor.
No, I'm not a co-sponsor. I wish, dude. Dude, my beard being down to my navel was one of the puniest beard at this competition. There was a guy there whose beard went down to his shoes.
Well, now that you could trip over. I mean, that could be a health hazard.
You could trip over it. I mean, you'd probably want to wrap it around your head like a turban.
Well, that's what happens for guys like us who are losing their hair on the top of their head. You just grow the beard so long you can pull it back up like a hoodie.
Exactly. That's how that works.
This is already a fantastic show, and we weren't even supposed to have started yet for the people that are tuning in.
Well, too bad. You snooze, you lose. That's what I always say.
Yeah. That's why you got to get here early if you're listening to the live show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why anybody would ever listen to the live show when you can just listen to it on a download, but okay.
Elon enhanced our productivity, so we started the show early.
Yeah, he got rid of all the goop holding us back.
Yeah. It's amazing how efficient this government's going to be.
It hasn't even started, and it's already further along than it was under Biden.
This is really...
Tesla's up $100.
I don't remember.
Bitcoin's up 25,000. It's great.
I don't remember this from any other president. And Donald Trump with the video, I'm not even sure what you call it. It's like a video diary because everything he wants to do, they're doing like a 2 to 10 minute video of and posting it, which is something unique. I believe I've never seen this. Maybe I just never paid attention, but I don't think any president's ever done anything even close to this. Like, well, here's what we're going to do. And here's why.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's very upfront. The picks that he's making are definitely the drain the swamp. We are not doing business as usual picks. There's a lot of people like, well, maybe a lot of them won't get through. It's like, I don't know. It's going to be up to some Republican senators. I mean, I know there's a couple that are rhinos.
If the Republican senators decide to be Democrats, there's a lot of things Trump can do with executive order to make their lives absolute hell.
This is true.
And he should. Like redistricting them.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean, yes, I know the states do that, but there's ways, believe me. The thing is, generally, there's a sense of tit for tat in Congress from the Republicans and Democrats. That's why we call them the uniparty, is that they are senators and Congress critters first and in their party second. And so you can do things for your party, but only if it doesn't piss off the guy that you're having lunch with every other Thursday because you work with him and he happens to be in the other party. And that's one of the problems. That's why it's the swamp. That's why America isn't actually represented by these people, because they make all these promises for election that they never actually do. And I think that having people that have no interest in being there, like Musk, and at this point, Trump, because it's his last term, it is a great opportunity to really drain the swamp. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is MAGA versus everybody else, and MAGA's in charge.
Well, they certainly have the wave behind them.
Yeah, exactly. And if somebody wants to have an R behind their name, but act like a D, I think they need to get called out, shamed, protested. Their house should have a 24/7 protest with signs in front of it. Their lives need to be made such that they are reminded that they are not doing what they were elected to do. Now, I'm not saying anybody should do anything illegal, but there are plenty of annoying, perfectly legal things that can be done.
Yeah, we want the will of the people to be put into action.
Yeah. And if you have Republicans standing in the way, like Paul Ryan in the first term, those people need to be made aware that there's a cost for doing so. Again, not calling for anything illegal, but like I said, you can be annoying. That is perfectly legal in a lot of different ways that these people are not used to, because they're used to having, people just ignore them. Well, not the case right now. You fuck with Trump, you fuck with 52% of America.
And if you really want to mess with your Democrat friends, if you have any, I was looking at the map for the nice folks that are behind the National Popular Vote Bill. Now, here's the funny thing. For the states that have already enacted it. Of course, I mean, I didn't realize. I thought this was something that was already in play, but the way that this whole thing is structured is that these states are not actually in where they have to give their electoral votes until they have a majority. So they need 270 votes worth of states to get together. And then once that happens, it would, because otherwise I'm looking at the electoral map here, and the states that Kamala won are all of those states. Washington is in on that.
Yep.
Oregon in on that. California in on the go with the popular vote, no matter what.
Yeah.
New Mexico
she'd have no states left. Is what it comes down to.
Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois. I think Virginia. I don't think Virginia's in.
Oh, she'd still have Virginia.
She would still have 13 electoral votes. We know New York is in on this.
Yeah.
But if this would have to pass, the Democrats passed this in the guise of like, oh no, the Republicans can never win the popular vote. Kamala would have literally under 33 electoral votes, maybe like even under 20. Depending on I
saw that map the first day somebody made one of those.
And it's amazing.
Like, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
I mean, every state, if you have a cutoff besides the eastern little portion there, except for the Northeast, forget the Northeast. Everybody else in the country that is signed up to do this is where Kamala won. And there are none of the states that Trump won that are signed up for this.
Yeah.
So Democrats.
Which wouldn't make any difference anyway, even if they were, it still goes to him.
Right. No, I'm just saying, though, it's hilarious that the people that voted this in are the ones it would have hurt. So, I mean, this again, can you imagine if this was in play for those states, what this would have looked like, the map on election night? It would be Kamala poor, like didn't get anything.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you ever want to give your rights away, people? This is the dumbest concept in the history of politics, I think.
Oh, the
national popular vote. Yeah,
I know.
Like, we're going to go by the popular vote, not by what the people in our state voted. It's like, well, then the people in those states, that's the irony, though. If you lived in one of those states, it's like, well, then why even vote? I mean, I guess except to, take part in the popular voting.
Yeah.
People just don't understand politics, including politicians.
Here's the funny part about it to me, because doing what you just said, which is the state just goes for whatever the popular vote nationally is, is no different in terms of removing direct voting than having an electoral college, which the same exact people always bitch about how the electoral college is totally wrong and unfair.
Right.
Well, the electoral college does the same thing that this national popular vote does. It takes the vote away from you and says, well, we're going to make that decision based on another group of people. It's ridiculous. But again, people that are into this shit, their cognitive facilities are such that they don't see problems when there are two completely opposing thoughts and they're told by the media that both of them are correct.
Yes.
It's like, yay, go trans rights and Palestine, because, Muslims totally are in line with trans rights. What the fuck, man? This is insane. You want to support a totalitarian regime that throws homosexuals off the top of buildings, literally, not figuratively, literally does that. And women get, if they're lucky, beaten. Well, if they're lucky, beaten, but if they're not lucky, killed for not wearing clothes that cover their entire bodies.
Yeah, or for infidelity, or for so many things will get
and
you.
I'm totally on board. Like, I can see somebody wanting that. It's like, women are out of control, let's get them covering their bodies. Okay, fine. But at the same time, then you want to support the pride festivals in San Francisco where there's literal fucking going on in the streets? No, you can't do both, man. Pick one.
Common sense is
not opposite ends of each other.
Common sense is not the strong suit of the left.
No.
Which is one of the issues there. But yeah, this whole concept of trying to reimagine the game to make your candidate win. When you realize that's not going to work, then what happens?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no, but we did the thing where the popular vote was going to. So, I mean, can you imagine if all of these states, let's just pretend for a minute that they got enough people involved and this was a much closer election and it ended up taking the electoral votes from the three largest states and putting them in the other category, in the other candidate's pocket.
What it would be. Yeah.
It's like, because
you'd have a revolution in those states is what you'd have.
Yeah, well, let's just understand people that voted this in, the fucktards, yes, and I'm in Illinois, the fucktards in California, the fucktards in New York, for voting this in. You do realize what happens then when the Republican wins the popular vote, then your vote is the one that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So you just voted for your vote not to count. I mean, I would hope that these states would go, let's just get rid of this. Let's get out of this. Let's back out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see how states like mine are going to go, because J.B. Pritzker is acting all big balls that he's not going to give in to this president, blah, blah, blah. But we all know what happens when you have a president that has cojones and a state says we're a sanctuary state, or a city says we're a sanctuary city. The president goes, oh, well, I guess you don't need federal funds anymore. Bye-bye.
Well, it's beyond that. I mean, it's really Vivek's one of his big platforms when he was running for president, and now he's in a position to execute on that platform, was to change the U.S. government, or whatever, federal aspect of it, to a, what do they call it? A zero something budgeting, I can't remember the term, but basically it's where you don't start with last year's budget and then ask for more money. You start with a zero budget every year, and you have to justify where every penny is going to get spent. You don't automatically get last year's budget as a starting point. And he did that in his billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company. And Musk has done that as well. And both of these guys are now in charge of doing that for the government. We'll see how that pans out. I've got my application sent in.
Nice.
So hopefully I'll be a part of that as well. But it's
you want to be a Dozier?
Yeah, I want to be a Dozier. I so want to have the uniform with a Doge dog on it. Yes.
That would be the greatest military outfit ever. Now, of course, the left would see that as an SS, even worse, more terrifying, inducing.
Yeah.
They'd be like this little furry dog.
Where I was going with this is, all the federal money that states get back from the federal government for a variety of reasons. Now, it shouldn't be that way. The state should be self-funding and then get nothing from the federal government. And as a result, the federal government should have a much lower tax rate for us. But right now, that's not the way it works. And, all those states that are used to getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the federal government are going to have to start at zero and actually justify why they ought to be getting any money from the federal government. And I love that.
Well,
that's going to be a huge savings. And the states that vote the Democrat the most, that rely the most on the federal government, are going to be fucked. And I know there are Democrats out there. Yeah, but Texas gets more money than most states out of the federal government. Well, yeah, right now Texas does, but Texas doesn't need to. The reason Texas does is because it'd be stupid to not get money back that your citizens paid in.
Well, Texas could just sell all that meth coming over the border. They can just grab that, then sell it.
Dude, we have methane. We don't need the meth. Methane, baby.
Well, we all heard these.
And frankly, Texas ought to send a bill to the federal government for our National Guard guarding the border instead of the federal government's whose job it is.
Absolutely. But every year, COVID, it was very obvious. But every year things go on like, well, the news stories hit schools get money, these different institutions get money that they're like, well, we need to spend this money before the end of the year. Otherwise, we're not going to get it next year. And it's like, this is the problem with efficiency. It's like, well, if all your bills are paid and whatever it is, whatever federal or state agency is sitting there like, we still got $5 million to spend and only like 2 weeks to spend it. And the concept being we need to spend it rather than, hey, we saved money.
Exactly.
Is insane.
So I'm going to break the rule that I just put up about 20 minutes ago.
You have rules?
Well, yeah, I just told you a new rule. No talking about people that send a couple of pennies.
Oh, well, pennies. We don't want pennies.
I'm going to treat this not as a donation, but as just general advice for CSB. Because frankly, he should have sent more sats. But as general advice, CSB, yes, the new card is supposed to come out. Now, supposed to may mean it does or doesn't. Depends on if they're ready for shipments. But that it's supposed to be coming out before Christmas. However, that card is going to come out first in the most expensive version, which is going to be pushing $2,000. And then after they sell some of those, probably in February or March, they'll come out with cheaper versions of the 5 series as well. So I don't think this affects your purchase other than the price of the 4 series cards should be a little bit cheaper by then. So there you go. There's your message for CSB. He's looking to spend some money on a graphics card. So I'm giving him some advice.
A podcast is never switched from politics to tech so abruptly ever in the history of podcasts. This is history making.
And I think Elon is a guy who straddles both. So I don't see why we shouldn't.
Oh, I understand. That's been a format for shows I've done for a long time, and I'm fully convinced that is what causes nobody to listen. But I still enjoy both, so it's okay. But it's like people are
political technology or technical politics.
Exactly. They're like they either want to hear about tech or they want to hear about politics, but a lot don't want to hear about both. But they do overlap so much at this point. And no, I didn't buy the Mac Mini yet because it's like, well, wait, I have to get. How do I run my speakers? I know. And I know what I don't want to do is buy another Windows machine, because if I end up buying another Windows machine,
you're fucked.
Right, because I don't do gaming because no eyes really hurts.
No eyes, yeah.
So I don't do any of that.
And Windows 11 is a lot more restrictive, man, than Windows 10.
I know, but I'm like, well, I like doing the art generating and stuff like that with AI, and then you need the big beefy card like CSB wants. And then, which means if I build
you do. I mean, I don't think you do, and certainly not for Photoshop, because Adobe makes software that is native on the Mac platform, and
I'm only talking real problem Stable with the Diffusion more than anything else.
Yeah, but again, all that shit's going to come out native, and the reality is the hardware that Apple's putting in that computer, which is $600,
fantastic for
which everybody is, not just me, everybody's saying get the cheap version.
I know, which is very annoying.
But if you wanted to have equivalent processing power other than the Mac, you're spending at least $1,800.
Now, here's the other thing that I was then considering, because it's like, one, there's only so many ports. I understand. Then you get a dock or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm also now looking at if I get one of these, what do they go up to? Like 53-inch monitors. I mean, if I get one of these, well, that would kind of be about the same amount of screen real estate that I have right now with the 3 different monitors. But then there would only be one cable, and it's way easier. Because let's be honest, the Mac Mini is so small.
Tiny.
I could run the Windows machine and the Mac Mini on the same monitor at the same desktop.
I mean, you could. I don't know what you want to, but you could, sure.
Well, you can run other things in the background, do their thing. If you want to do the things that are better at Windows, it would just be a nice, easy transition, I think, to make between. But that's it. It's like, well, wait, I like listening to the music, so I need to have something I can plug my speakers, and otherwise I need new speakers.
Yeah, dude, what is your issue with speakers? Are your speakers digital?
Are they digital?
Yeah.
Well, all speakers
What kind
are
of
technically
are they? Do they have
analog.
optical connector on them? What's the deal with the speakers?
Well, there is an optical connector. It's a 5.1 Creative Lab set from way back with the subwoofer.
Yeah, my point is, do they have 5 wires that you have to plug into your computer in
3.
order to get 5.1? Or do
3.
they have 1?
3.
And what are the 3? Base,
Center, back,
left, and right.
center, back, and front. There is no subwoofer output on the sound card.
Okay. So center, back, and front.
Yeah. So
And you have these 5 speakers positioned around your head.
yes.
Okay. I mean, all right.
No, I put them in the other room. I can't even hear them, but I want to run them.
I mean, it's so 1990s, man.
I know.
Like, nobody does this shit.
I'm old.
It's
I was
crazy.
around in the 1980s.
5.1. That doesn't exist anymore.
But yes, well, it exists, but it's just for watching. I mean, and I don't watch movies in here. It's just for the 5.1 music.
What's recorded in 5.1? Send me one album that's recorded in 5.1.
Okay, they have released
Nothing is recorded
stuff.
in 5.1. It's all fake. You're listening to fake music.
Look up Dolby Atmos 5.1. There's a ton of things that have been released in 5.1. I'm not saying I even listen to it a lot, but it's like I have the speaker system. I'm like, wait, I can't even plug this directly in.
No, because it's crap. If you
Geez,
here's
like,
what I would do.
Bluetooth. Go Bluetooth. It's the only way
No,
to go.
no, Bluetooth crap as well. No, but you can buy a very cheap optical dongle. So it'll plug into USB and then it'll have an optical out that if these have an optical input,
They
you
do.
just need the one optical wire and you're done.
Yeah, it has the optical, the light.
Yeah, because the optical can send 6 channels in one wire.
Yeah, Spitif, right? That's the Spitif.
Yeah, Spitif. Exactly.
They come up with these great names. They're so easy to remember.
I know, right? It just spitifs out your tongue
Right.
automatically.
It just Spitifs right on into the system.
Uh-huh.
And then it plays. It's just amazing. It's technology.
I've got one of these dongles on my PC for talking to the Motu.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Because here's what I figured out. This is actually brilliant of me. I figured out that I have a Motu with an expensive microphone that's plugged into the Mac. And I was trying to think of, oh man, I can't believe I need to buy another Motu for the PC.
Oh yeah.
Then it occurred to me, I would never use both of them at the same time because my headset on the PC sounds like crap because, gaming headset. So I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to use a real microphone. And it occurred to me, I only use one at a time, or I would use if I had 2 of them. Oh, wait, I can just have the signal from the Max Motu going optically from the back of the Motu optically into the PC. And there's my mic on both computers, literally at the same time in high quality.
It's like magic.
Wow. Holy cow.
This is the part of the show where
I could probably
Gene
run
pats
the
himself on
second
the
line
back.
back and even figure out a way to get the audio out of the PC into the Motu, allowing me to only have one set of headphones instead of 2, which is what I do right now. I have the PC headphones and the Mac headphones.
Sharing an audio signal beyond 2 different computers from 2 different manufacturers.
It's kind of like it's very transitional of me.
That is the beauty of the Motu, is the fact that it has so many inputs that you can just pop things and move them around. With the way it can break things out, you can even do, if you were doing a multi-channel podcast, you can have it go to individual physical channels on a mixing board if you really wanted to. Yeah.
And the guy that I used to do the what was that podcast called? It was I can't remember.
The Recumbent Bike Hells Angels.
No. It was the business podcast that I did like 5 years ago. 5-6 years ago, maybe now. But
Failing at Business by Sir Gene.
Yeah. Ha ha ha.
How to close a company.
I can't remember what it was called anymore.
Steps.
I'd have to look it up. Oh, I'm sure I got it on my phone. Hold on. I'm going to look it up on my phone, see what it is. But that podcast, when I was telling him what to buy for podcast gear, I wasn't concerned about him spending his money.
Well, no,
it was
you're
called
just like
Challenging Assumptions Podcast. That's what it was called. And it's still up there, as far as I can tell.
Wow, you still got that domain. That's a good one. Challenging assumptions. So that should be like an RFK Jr. podcast now.
I know, right? And so he'd sold his company, so he had a few bucks in the bank.
And you're thinking, how can I get the bucks in his bank into my bank?
No. Not at all. I'm just thinking in terms of if I was to build this and not have to spend my own money, what do I get? So I had him buy the 8 microphone version of the Motu. So it's the same Motu that I have, which is 2 mics, except it has 8 mic inputs.
8 XLR ports. That is a lot.
XLR ports, yeah. But it's the same guts, but with more, I think it's got more, DPS processing, so you can do more effects and more mics at the same time. But, like mine was $700 ish. I think it was $799. His was like $1,700.
Well, yeah, because you're adding a lot of preamps.
But, and it was just the 2 of us doing the podcast, which was great. So
there were another 6 microphones just sitting there to make it look like this was a more impressive.
Yeah. Well, and then he bought, I don't think he had bought 6. I think he bought 4 RE320s for it.
Didn't want to go for the big boy, the RE20 that the big boys use.
No, I told him the RE320 sounds better. So
it's got the big bottom.
The RE20 does not have the big bottom. The RE320 actually sounds better if you don't do any processing. Because the RE20 on purpose is meant to be a very flat mic, whereas the 320 actually contours the sound a little bit.
In such a delicious way. I mean, Bandrew couldn't tell us all about it.
Bandrew does know this. I'm just saying you should know this. But
the
RE20 is an extremely flat mic.
I was like, I can either use the microphone that Sir Gene is using or the one that Rush Limbaugh used. And I'm like, which one had a more successful broadcast career?
Yeah, which one had a producer? Let's think.
Is that what you need? You just need a most nerdly?
Yeah, you need a guy, and you also need a big bottom in there.
We need a big bottom.
You think Rush used a big bottom?
I don't know. It would be interesting to know what kind of
I'm pretty sure
signal processing that they did. Snerdly might know. I mean,
Snerdly would totally know. Absolutely. It might be a secret that he's going to hold on to his death.
How to guess that Rush Limbaugh sound?
Because Rush used to talk like this all the time when he was in person.
He sounded like the guy from Family Guy, that the pervert, or Herbert the pervert. That's it.
Herbert. Yeah. I had to look him up recently for a meme.
Gene,
yeah, for a meme.
Did you look me up, Gene? Did you like what you saw, Gene?
I looked them up, exactly. Because there was a meme that I was trying to recreate, and he would be the perfect, character for it. And I couldn't remember his name. And I was like, oh, shit, what is that character called? So I just put pedophile.
Family Guy, or no, just pedophile.
Family Guy, pedophile. And it returned a different character. I was like, wait, did I miss a pedophile in Family Guy that I was not the old man? What is the deal? And it
was Meg.
It was it was one of the other minor characters that it brought back. Apparently there's 2 pedophiles in that show.
Well, pedophiles get lonely.
I bet.
Really, when you think about it, Herbert the pervert kind of sounds like Bill Clinton, just a couple octaves higher.
I don't know. I always just thought of him as Seth MacFarlane's alter ego.
Could be. Don't know if they share the same.
Seth is, no one's ever been sure where exactly Seth is with his preferentials.
Yep.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Would rather not know.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You got to wink. You got to nudge.
Know what I mean?
Run that right through your
Seth's
Motu.
Been, he likes a lot of show tunes. He sings show tunes. Never been married.
Not that it's wrong.
Nothing wrong with that. Or show tunes, liking show tunes or otherwise, or disliking show tunes. I guess there's nothing wrong with either.
Limbaugh must have had a pretty nicely treated room, though, because if you ever see photos or the videos, he's speaking quite far away from the microphone.
Yeah, and especially back when he used to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. You imagine sitting in a room that smells like an ashtray for 3 hours every day?
A very small room usually at the time. I mean, he probably got bigger there at the end when he built his own.
Hey, now, don't be talking about his waist size.
His own studio. Well, or the drug use but Rush was always right.
Yes. Yes, they were good drugs. So
in my formerly nicotine-stained hands.
Oh, that was a good impression. I like that. You even had paper? Where the hell did you find paper? I have no paper at home.
Just sitting right on the desk here. It's actually it was a $5 check donation that came in for the rock and roll pre-show.
Oh, wow. You actually get those for the rock and roll pre-show.
From Meemaw, yeah.
I see.
It's the way it goes. Some people like to donate to support the shows.
Well, I mean...
And then there's this show.
I'm kind of surprised you're talking about it publicly. You're kind of building the case for RIAA by talking about it, but okay.
No, this is for the entertainment portion that I put out there. And I do my taxes. I am less afraid of the RIAA than I am the...
I don't think anyone's afraid of the RIAA these days.
No. It's like the Internal Revenue Service. Yes. Yeah, like here, I got a check for $1. How much would you like?
You know, I did a project for the SPA once, years and years ago.
What is the SPA?
That's the Software Publishers Association. Oh. That's the equivalent of the RIAA, except for software.
And they've never been as much in the news as...
No. Because they were smart. They only went after Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
They're like, we bet you have a copy of Microsoft Office that's unlicensed.
Right. Like
now,
if you
would you like to write us a check for $100,000 so we don't have to check?
Right. Because they don't care. They don't want to see my one computer. They walk into the, you walk into the Venetian in Vegas and you're like, oh, those 8,000 computers you have all have this piece of software. Where's your license?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but our IT guy. I mean, we thought we thought everything was legit. We paid the IT guy.
Yeah, always throw the IT guy under the bus. That's the plan. Always throw the IT guy under the bus.
That's what you have the IT guy for.
Yeah, pretty much.
So when somebody comes in, you're like, no, we didn't know.
That's a bus throwage thing. Yeah.
How would we know if it was licensed officially or not? Cotton Gin's amazed that IT guys get paid. Well, in Vegas, it's all just hookers and blow. I mean, I guess I don't know how you put that on your taxes.
I don't know, man. I guess that's true.
Hookers and blow. Now, are the prices of the high quality hookers going up or down now that we're moving into the Trump economy? I haven't heard JCD speculate.
That's a good question. I think I should check on that.
Do you want to do some research?
For research purposes, sure.
Only.
Yeah.
So when you get cuffed and be like, no, I was doing research.
You're right.
This wasn't a pleasure cruise. We all work for Tipster members. No. That's right. When that goes through, man.
Tips only.
When that goes
I agree with that.
It's going to be a completely different world for podcasters.
Yep.
Because I think tips are going to be legally quantified as something that you get that you are not guaranteed to get from somebody. It's a not some, again, just like when you go in, even though it is the accepted thing when you go into a restaurant that you're going to tip. Now, I mean, it's moved up to what? 18% kind of the minimum. 15 used to be
$3.
Most people do 15 to 20%.
Or $3, yeah.
Or $3. No. Gene's like, it's $3 whether it was a donut and coffee or whether it was 14 prime ribs and a bottle of whatever kind of champagne you might want.
Stuff.
But it's like you're not guaranteed that. So if it's not something that legally that somebody has to pay you, it's not, hey, give me $20 a month and you got my service. You got the Sir Gene podcast service. No. You get to use the product, you get to use the service, and you get to decide what it's worth. Very much like, when we're visiting my dad in the hospital, they have a free valet. It's like that is a service that's being offered. If you decide to give that guy money, you're not obligated in any way. That's obviously a tip. It's not like, here's your car keys, but here, first you have to give me $10. Nope.
Yeah.
So anything that comes into a podcast that isn't a subscription.
Free LA is good, but you do end up tipping like $10.
Of course, because you don't want to be a douche.
Yeah. Or you do like some people do, not me. They say, "Oh man, I'm totally out of cash. I'll get you next time."
See, now these guys are all smart. I think they're all like, Venmo, bitch.
I know they do that. You're totally right. God damn it.
Like, you got your phone, don't you?
I'm good. You can just send it, swipe here, or
and most people have their phone.
PayPal, or you tell me, whatever,
Guys, anyway.
I told you.
Have their phone in their hand. It's not like usually they're hidden in a pocket. Where women, they're in their bag. Guys, the phones are always visible.
There's something I've always thought would be funny to do, but never actually did, which was starting even years ago, like when I first moved to Austin 15 years ago. This idea that that Austin was the first place in Texas that I ever saw a person standing on the corner by the stoplight asking for money.
Really?
Like, you just don't see that in Texas normally.
Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, we get it all the time here.
And then Austin, and we had it bad for a while, like right after COVID, I guess, or right before COVID. I can't remember anymore. Yeah, right after COVID. Because I remember back when Curry still lived here, because that was one of the reasons they moved out of Austin, was that they started, there was like a homeless camp that was living right next to their fence in the back. But
I thought they were being hassled by a recumbent bike gang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you make fun of this, but a recumbent bike is like $6,000.
Because it costs a lot doesn't mean it's cool.
It's so cool and so unique and so awesome.
Wow, I bet I could ride one of those. I bet I could.
Yeah, I bet you can. Mm-hmm.
Hey, little boy, with your tricycle.
I had a guy drive down from Dallas to buy it when I sold mine.
Ride your tricycle over here, Gene. Mm-hmm.
It's I had a very, very special model
I bet you did.
Outback. Yeah, it was imported from Australia.
You have airbags on it?
No, I didn't have airbags on it. No.
Make sure you wear that really nice Adidas tracksuit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always wore the Adidas tracksuit.
Looking good, Gene. Looking good.
You sound very natural doing that. I wonder how much practice you've had.
All depends.
I don't want to know about what you're wearing. I'm just talking about the voice you're doing.
Gene, why you Gene? Almost said, do not, Gene. No, Gene, no. Don't do it, Gene. Do not touch me there, Gene. No.
Yeah, and clearly you've had a lot of practice living in a garbage can as well.
It's Elmo. Oscar's harder because he's a lower kind of a growl, like, how you doing?
That's not Oscar.
I
thought. No, I guess it is Elmo. Yeah. What? How are those things related at all, or not?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, they're all they're
just both Hensons, right?
Yeah, the Henson crew. They were both on the same show, but not. They weren't like cousins or anything, as far as I know. So I mean, they want to fool around.
They kind of look like that, and then the Cookie Monster thing had a big mouth too.
Yeah, Jim Henson liked furry things with big mouths.
Let's not go to the 70s, shall we?
Wonder why you think that is, Gene. Furry things with big mouths.
He was big in the 70s, wasn't he?
Henson? Oh, yeah. Before computers were able to do everything and reproduce everything magically with AI.
Yeah. I always liked the, what are those little critters called that lived underneath the house?
Mice?
No, the Henson one. The Henson show.
Oh, was that like Fraggle Rock or something?
Fraggle Rock. Yeah, the little Fraggles. They were cool because they were like basically rat-sized little people that were frankly, I think it was kind of a takeoff on The Hobbit, but they lived in a cave, and the central storyline was this main character's uncle was this big explorer that went and did massive exploration trips, meaning he got out of their little cave and he went to the house that was the cave kind of connected to. And he had all these stories of crazy wild happenings out in the outer world. And I remember another character was a trash heap.
Wait, there was a character that was a trash heap.
There was a character that was the magic trash heap or the great trash heap or something like that. And it was it was a wise, it was kind of the Gandalf character. It was like this wise old character that the Fraggles would go ask questions when they couldn't figure out an answer to themselves. They would go to the great trash heap and ask their query.
Well, Ned's pulling this stuff out. One, he said doozers, which I had no idea were little green
they were even smaller.
In Fraggle Rock.
The doozers were like tiny little builder guys that were even smaller than the Fraggles. They were like tiny. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think
That's
I ever
a
watched
crazy show.
The Fraggle Rock show.
No. I think
doozers were only, there was a doozer show, it looks like, from 2012 to 2018 too. So, I mean, I guess for people that like
never saw that.
weed, maybe that's the
probably. Yeah, I never saw the doozer show, but they were like these little tiny miniature people that were building stuff all the time. And I think the Fraggles were like eating stuff they were building or something, or they were just breaking it. I can't remember exactly, but I know the Fraggles didn't really see them as intelligent people. They were just kind of there. But the doozers actually looked like people.
And I need to fact check Ned, who did Boost. He said 3 things in Texas: steers, queers, and poncho profiteers. Well, that last one's wrong because he would have actually had to make money on the poncho to be a poncho profiteer.
Oh, God.
What do you call guy who has a garage full of ponchos that have been unsold?
Lucky?
Lucky. You have some, I mean, you weren't even home for Halloween to give them away. For Christmas, give them to everybody.
I thought, that would have been a great Christmas gift. I mean, it's an expensive Christmas gift. You don't usually give like, $10 worth of candy to somebody, but
for Christmas, still. I mean, the guy, your mailman, your gardener, your sushi guy, your
everybody gets a
gets a poncho. It might rain, the weather might be. I mean, at least you don't get much snow in Texas. So ponchos are great.
We better not get much snow.
Well, it's global warming,
Yeah, it better be.
Elon's going to fix it. I mean, all he has to do is send up one of those rockets, and then as it comes back down, it's just like a big hair dryer. Warm up the whole area.
I think that's exactly how it works.
He's going to change the whole of our world for the better.
Yeah.
Elon is a visionary.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And now he's been put in charge of the government.
And he can vision the way. The only thing that I'm going to predict with Elon is any statements he makes about what they're doing are visionary statements. They're not actuality statements, meaning we're making a car that is going to have unbreakable windows. You'll be able to order it right now and you'll have it in about 2 years. And 7 years later,
we're still working on it. It's almost.
The windows break and we still don't have your car ready.
So he's really a good addition to the Donald Trump thing because he says crazy stuff every now and then.
Oh, he does. Yeah. I think that's where they get along is they both talk about stuff. Now, the flip side is he does eventually have shit done. It just always takes way longer than what he predicted.
Well, and we put him in charge of the efficiency area, right? So that's just want to say the guy who's always late.
By the time Trump is out of office, we should see some efficiencies happening.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years after Trump is out of office.
Yeah.
The efficiencies will start really hitting home.
Man, I really hope that JD Vance becomes an activist VP. I can't remember. I was watching a YouTube video on this, but apparently back like in the 18 somethings, there was one VP that actually did that. And so there's a precedent for this, meaning generally, the VP as the head of the House of Representatives.
The VP is the Senate.
Senate. Sorry, you're right. As the head of the Senate, yeah.
It's the tiebreaker. That's really the only thing you have to show up
Well,
for.
and that's what they've been doing. However, and I can't remember which guy this is. Maybe somebody will saw the same video and remember. But it was well over 100 years ago. But but he was active. So he was acting as the president of the Senate the whole session, like every session. And he is the according to the rules, if the VP is there as the president of the Senate, he is the one that is gaveling first. So he effectively could take over the list of priorities in the Senate. Like, and this is what I'm saying. Like, there are options that they can do if the so-called Republican rhinos that are in the Senate decide to impede Trump. They could simply come in and have him run the Senate instead of the majority leader. They can sideline the majority leader, and he effectively would be the president of the Senate.
Because the vice president normally does dick all. I mean, that's
exactly. So that is an option. There'll be a lot of bitching if that happens, but there is actual precedent for it. And I think that's the key thing here is that if it's been done in the past, it's hard for them to push back. I mean, they're going to try, obviously, but it's harder for them to push back out of it because, it's not like they're doing something that's never been done. They're just doing what, frankly, and I think their argument would be, well, every vice president could have and probably should have been doing this.
Yes, as the presiding officer of the Senate, you really don't do anything unless there's a tie vote. So there's that.
Well, no, that's just historically. But again, there was one instance of a VP that actually did all that. And that was active as
as far as what's in the constitutional, that is all that there is to be the presiding officer of the Senate. And of course, if the president dies, man, they're there.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. And they can use that 25th Amendment. So there's the silver bullet. Make sure you put somebody you trust as your VP.
Mm-hmm.
They,
Which Trump didn't do the first time.
They, of course, certified the Electoral College results. Congratulations, Kamala. Get ready for that.
Yeah. And something about how Democrats passed something in the last 4 years that basically removes the VP's ability to challenge the certification or anything. So she has to certify it now. Because they didn't like what happened with Trump that one time.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's that'll never happen again. It's not up to them. It's up to the people. It's up to the majority of the people that vote.
Right.
And for a Democrat.
So we're going to go with the majority vote. That's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We're going to give away our rights. It's just such short-sighted stuff that these people come up with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Their political responsibility is to be advisor to the president. Well, I don't know how much public advocate, modern expansions of the role. The vice president frequently leads initiatives or task forces. Joe Biden, as vice president, oversaw the implementation of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. How did that good? And
yeah, how did that go?
ChatGPT says Kamala Harris is focused on issues like immigration and voting rights. Mm-hmm. Bullshit, she's done anything. What has she done?
So I don't know if the AI is correct on this or not. Could be wrong, but it's saying that John Calhoun, who was the VP under Andrew Jackson, was very active in the Senate during his term.
That's how they've gone on as the time has passed to. I mean, because you think about it, the vice president, which is kind of just the person sitting there in case the president dies.
Yeah.
So let's give them something to do while that is happening. And it was like, well, you can preside over the Senate. That had to mean a lot more at some point than just go sit here and watch whatever they're doing and not even talk unless there is a tie vote.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that probably came out of convenience of the VP basically not wanting to be there.
And let's remember, originally, the vice president was the person who got the second most votes for president, which leads to a whole bunch of other different conversations when it's like, if the president dies, can you imagine? Can you imagine that now? You know, Donald Trump wins, but Kamala Harris is the vice president. How long before Trump's dead?
Mm-hmm.
So, or vice versa. You know, oh, Kamala won, but Trump's vice president. Oh, huh. Wonder how long.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to do that. That muddies the waters. With the vice presidential role, I mean, come on, who can even name most of the vice presidents throughout history?
Oh, nobody.
Except for the ones that became relevant, you know, that.
Well, yeah, I guess if they became presidents, like
right.
Papa Bush.
Oh, and I guess let's not forget Dick Cheney. He didn't become president, but he just went on to endorse a freaking lunatic from the other party. That's your legacy, Dick. You and your daughter.
He was not a vice president.
Cheney was. Under Bush the older.
Wait. No.
Yeah, well, no, Bush the younger. 2001 to 2009. Yes, he was. Bush the younger. Yeah, he was the vice president under Bush. Yes. Dick Cheney.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, you said, who can remember vice presidents? Clearly not me. Because I thought Cheney was an advisor of some type. I didn't realize he was the fucking Veep.
Vice President Dick.
Wow. Yeah, no, I totally did not connect that at all.
And then Al Gore. I mean, he came so close to winning the presidency.
Oh, some would say he won.
A lot would. I think that's where the whole thing started with. Oh, no, we can't. This Electoral College, we have to go with the popular vote because Al Gore won the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
Very important, popular vote. Except you're changing the game, so you don't know. And with all of the talk for these, where did the 10, 12 million Democrat votes come from?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, they are equally dispersed across all 50 states, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking you would find some kind of a pattern where you'd be like, in a few key areas, that this is where they drop, but it really seems to have dropped equally everywhere. So if you want a conspiracy theory, the Republicans now have a way to rig the election, and the only way to get the Democrats not to cry foul when it happened was to do what they did 4 years ago, which is to make it toxic for anybody to publicly be like, no, the election wasn't fair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is genius when you think about it. If you have a way to fix an election, what you do is you then throw an election, you lose, and then make all the hubbub that's like, oh, no, that wasn't fair, because then the other side's like, and then the next election comes and they're now like, well, shit, now we can't be we just spent 4 years belittling these people. Now we can't do that. I also feel like it was a Republican op to start going on social media and have women shave off their hair if they're Democrats.
Oh my God. That's just, it's so hilarious.
I mean, I think that's where it started because this is great. This is a bit. And somebody did this as, a Republican.
Yeah, it's probably 4chan. 4chan probably made the first video getting women to do this.
And now we know who to put into the concentration camps because they're the ones.
Yeah, exactly. The FEMA camps. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, you shaved your head. Oh, good. Now we know you're a Harris supporter.
That's mean to say that. No, we now know who to put into the insane asylums because clearly a person that shaves their head for no good reason, like they're not bald.
Because the person that they didn't want to win the election won.
Yeah, and that's a reason to shave your head. I would say that you, at the very minimum, should have a checkup at an insane asylum and probably kept there.
Yeah. But as you pointed out,
I've been saying bring back the asylums for like 10 years, man.
Bring back the asylums. Bring back the asylums.
Chance. What do we want? Asylums.
When do we want them? No. It's a whole different show. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of those shows. I'm going to feed it through the AI to get the transcript and everything, and it's going to be like, nope, I'm not giving you chapters.
You're not getting it.
Not for this hate-filled show. It's like, it's comedy.
God. Yeah. Comedy's banned, though.
Yes, comedy is no longer allowed. Until January 6th. Yeah. Is it the same date? Is it all? I don't know. Is inauguration day like the first?
I think I believe that's a prescribed date.
It's not like the first Monday in January or something.
No, because then every president would have a variable length term.
That's true. That would. You got 2 extra days, man.
Yeah, you could fuck something with that.
Well, they're trying to. They're trying desperately. New York is like, wait, we got to get this tax on cars coming into the city in. This is the kind of shit that is just going to, hopefully drive the people in New York so insane that they finally jettison the Democrat leadership. The concept of, you want to come into New York between, 7 a.m. and 5 p.m.? Well, that's going to cost you $20 to bring your car into the city at that point every day. So people that work there, it'd be like, give them a big middle finger because we know your fucking subways aren't safe. We know public transport's not safe. And they're going to try to bleed you fucking dry with, an extra $100. I mean, maybe in New York, that's no big deal. $20-25 a day, whatever they want to have the tax be. Maybe it was 18. It was something more close to $20, if I remember right.
Really? Okay.
It's insane. And it was all scrapped because of political reasons. And now they're like, no, we better try to get this done before Donald Trump takes office. I don't necessarily know why, being it's a state thing, unless they figure he's going to have some kind of strike down power. I mean, I think they do it in London. I think there are some cities in Europe that do this kind of thing because they don't want cars in the city. They don't want it to be overrun. So then they just create ways to make it very inconvenient for you to bring your car in. And it's like, well, that's not the way America works. This, again, is one of these big things where they don't want you to live in the suburbs and come work in the city. They're like, well, if you're going to work in the city, you should live here too.
Yeah, they do say that.
That's when all the fucking businesses go, bye-bye. Going to move somewhere else. Going to move out into the middle of a fucking cornfield in Iowa.
Yeah.
Much safer that way.
That's where the World's Fair is going to be. For
Iowa?
The 250th anniversary of America. Did you listen to Trump when he gave that speech?
I didn't really pay much attention. I've seen that he wants like a World's Fair kind of thing.
It'll be a year-long state fair next year, a year-long state fair in Iowa.
And you realize most of the time these things take like a decade to plan. And he's just like, let's just rock it up.
We got Trump.
Let's rock it up, baby.
It's going to happen. Just like the fence on the southern border.
Well, I didn't even realize that the big, I think it was the World's Fair that was in New York, like in the 50s.
Yeah.
Was the impetus for a lot of the technology that became Disneyland and Disney World.
I think it was earlier than the 50s, but yeah.
With some of those rides they had.
Like 1938 World's Fair or something.
And it's like, let's do that.
The World of Tomorrow is what it was called.
And some of those things are still existing in Disney, which means they're a little bit outdated.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're no longer a nice attraction to go see.
Yeah. So here's the thing. While we were talking, I looked this up, actually. I found the paper on this.
Gene doing research.
So apparently the president of the Senate has what's called the right of recognition.
Well, hello there, except you don't remember them. So the right of recognition for Dick Cheney.
I mean, I wouldn't be getting this job. That's for sure. So.
Well, because you can't fire anybody as vice president.
So the Senate's formal rules state that the presiding officer might be recognized first, and then he will be in charge of recognizing people thereafter, which makes sense because you got to have somebody who's leading the Senate or in any committee. And that person is the first person to be recognized, which means they're the first ones allowed to speak. And they're the ones that choose who they recognize to speak. Well, if the pretend Republicans, the rhinos, want to play against Trump, I think that'll be a perfect opportunity for J.D. Vance to come in there, assert his right, and not recognize anybody that he doesn't want to recognize.
Political gamesmanship.
Mm-hmm. And he was a senator. Remember, he knows these rules.
Use the rules that you have. That's the way the world works.
That's how you win.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people
by knowing the rules and how to use them.
I'm sure most of our listeners don't watch NASCAR, but that was the big hubbub this time around, is the guy that won, if you went just by the regular season points, was like 17th.
Mm-hmm.
But because he won at the right time, played the game right. And a lot of people are upset about that. And it's like, you can't be. It's like the Electoral College thing. It's like if the rules say one thing, that's how you build your strategy. That's how you build your team. That's how you whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be like, well, wait, this person shouldn't have won. It's like, no, that's not the way it is. You play by the rules that you have. And if you can win within the rules that are on the books, that means you're legitimate, whether it's a president or in a sport.
Mm-hmm.
But if you change the rules, of course, the game is different. But you have to change them first to know this concept that we can put different rules on previous elections, which is what these people that want the Electoral College to be gone and the popular vote to be used, they are officiating previous elections and not understanding that if you change the rules, like I've said all along, these people in California, Illinois, New York that would never go out that are Republicans because they're like, well, I'm never going to get my vote to count in my state. Once that popular vote actually counts, you don't know how many people are voting. I believe, without much data in front of me, I believe that there are more people in this country who are conservative when you add all of those together than there are that are liberal. Which means if everybody's vote actually counts for the same, those liberals are just signing their own death warrant, which would be great, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I necessarily have that much against the concept right now on its face of the every vote counts, use the popular vote. But I understand that the Electoral College is there in order to provide some checks and balances like everything else in the politics in the United States. And it gives smaller states. I mean, the reality, though, did anybody go to Hawaii or Alaska to campaign? Maybe they did, but you're not putting a lot of money into it.
No.
It's like, why?
Well, yeah, you got small population states that don't really matter.
So it's like, okay, I understand you want them to have a voice, but the reality is they're kind of blown off the table.
I don't even know who Alaska and Hawaii voted for because they're both, well, Hawaii is usually Democrat, but Alaska's a flip-floppy state. So
Alaska went for
I'm
Trump.
going to look it up now.
Yeah, Alaska went Trump. I think Hawaii did go Harris. So if you're warm and paying way too much for things, you'll go Democrat. If you're cold and paying way too much for things, you go Trump. I mean, that's kind of what both of those states are. Very isolated. Yeah. Bemro says Alaska was red, Hawaii was blue.
Yeah, okay. But Alaska has flip-flop. They have done blue in the past as well.
Well, they can be part of Russia at any time.
Well, they technically are, you see, because that sale was never actually finalized.
We did cover that at one point. Putin actually owns Alaska. Maybe Trump will give it back to him.
Well, I don't know if maybe they'll trade it for Ukraine or something. That'd be all right.
We have a few listeners that are in Alaska. So, it's like you could be Russian by the end of this term. I just want to warn you of that.
Yeah, and if you become Russian, let me know. As a Russian billionaire, I may have some pool on that.
Yeah, Gene can help you out. Then he can get you in and out. He can get you the caviar guy's number. He will provide you with the best.
Caviar guy's number.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all you need to know.
Exactly.
Part of being in the Russian club.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I do think it is hilarious. The more people push Corinne Jean-Pierre with the all the rhetoric about him being a threat to democracy, that Trump guy. Well, what happened? That's really what she says.
Democracy lost, I guess. I don't know.
I'm surprised they haven't gone that route.
Well, I did hear a reporter asking Biden if he thought that Trump was still a threat to democracy after meeting with him.
Did he?
But as usual, Biden didn't say anything.
Did he just give you that shit-eating grin that he's been wearing lately?
Yeah. Exactly right.
My wife told me to vote for Trump now. Yeah. My word is a Biden.
It's the kind of grin where you can't tell if he's currently pissing.
Right.
Or if there's some kind of inside joke that you're not party to.
Or both.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Yeah. Same time.
I hear Jill ordered some red ponchos, so I don't know what that had to do with anything.
Yeah, well, I don't sell the red ones. Unfortunately, I didn't get any of that.
Got to get some red.
I did see her wearing red on election day.
Yeah, that wasn't a sign at all.
No.
And then at the Veterans Day ceremony this week, that she was sitting next to Kamala, and the camera, at least when the cameras were on, when Kamala was showing up, they did not greet each other or even look at each other.
Nice. Yeah.
It's like, and you wonder why. I mean, come on. This was
why women shouldn't be in politics. I know.
This was vicious politics. This was 101. Nancy Pelosi's pissed that Biden didn't leave soon enough. And it's like, you know what? He was your fucking guy. I mean, this is it. You know, again,
she's older than him.
I know. And she's running again.
The fuck?
In 2 years, she already went in for her, and whatever it is, to be on the ballot for her next election in 2026.
Insanity, man. It is insanity. I think we ought to have age limits. I've been saying that for a long time, too.
I think there should
We have a minimum age. There's no reason not to have a maximum age.
I think there should be a cognitive thing attached to it.
35 minimum.
Because I think Donald Trump, next
probably
to some,
45 maximum
60-year-olds, looks younger. He looks like he's healthier than
I don't care, dude. No. If I could get a maximum age passed and have to trade in Trump to do it, I'd do it.
Really,
I'd rather take the long game here.
Well, but that's a difference. Again, I mean, you want the people with the DNA that's good, that they are long.
Trump could have run 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And even talked about running 30 years ago, but he didn't run.
Well, he was too busy marrying a supermodel. I love that.
Which one?
I know. And I love
There's
that
three of them there that he married.
Keith Olbermann's like, Russian state TV showing Donald Trump who's in charge by putting nude photos of Melania on the Soviet television, Russian television. And it's
clearly fake news. Russian television does not allow nudity.
And it was even blurred out because it was the cover of GQ from the UK GQ, I guess, where they have nudity.
Oh, they do have nudity in the UK, yeah.
From, I think it was 2000, 2001, she was on the cover. Sans clothing, as they would say. And that was what they were showing.
Look this up, I think.
So it's like, do you really think Donald Trump was unaware that she was on the cover of a magazine? I mean, it's like, this was not salacious. This was not some hidden porn from Unearthed. This was nothing untoward. It was a GQ magazine.
Whatever.
Spread,
you can't
right?
see shit, man. I'm looking at the magazine right now.
And you're pissed because you're like,
anything.
you can't even see anything.
Yeah.
People are just, Keith Olbermann's obviously just pissed that Donald Trump gets really hot women.
Yeah. But she's, in the classic pose, which you've seen in Playboys back in the olden days.
Yeah, since the 50s.
Of a beautiful nude woman lying on a bearskin rug or a sheepskin rug, maybe, but some kind of a fur thing. But you can't see anything. Yes, you can see she's naked, but when you're face down on the rug, and it's shot from the head side, like there's nothing you can see.
And this is very common in any model that does high-end fashion
or
photography.
not even high end.
Well, I mean, okay, there are a lot that do the low end, but
dude, when I used to be a photographer, like this was sort of the test the camera shot they have all the girls do.
right. Well, I mean, I've seen, Giselle, I've seen Adriana Lima, I've seen Candice Swanepoel. Everybody that has made millions of dollars in modeling has these images out there.
And most that haven't as well. Yes.
True. And the ones that you never heard of as well. But this is a very common thing. And it's like, if you think that's embarrassing, Donald Trump, it's like, do you not think he marries this way? Because
so not embarrassing.
I think Donald Trump, they said when they did a story, the GQ did, because they wanted to sell papers, or the magazine rather, back in 2016. So they put this photo shoot in, and he ordered a bunch of the copies to be sent to the White House. It's like, come on.
What? When did this come out? What year?
Originally, I think it was 2001.
2001, because the cover says, as far as stories in the magazine, sex at 30,000 feet.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
You want to be in Air Force One now.
The GQ bitch list. This tells you the time has changed.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because this is all just GQ cover.
We could probably do a nice segment every show by pulling the Cosmopolitan covers.
How to make 160,000 pounds in 5 days and 2 nights.
Well, I mean, you have to be a really high. The hooker price has to be way up. But I think looking at, Playboy, Maxim, then on the other, GQ on the other side of that, Cosmopolitan. And
Voice talk from Jamie Oliver, Tony Persons, and Jason Barlow. I don't know who those people are.
You want to pull out all the headlines and you can get a good idea of what was going on in the world at the time. But
yeah,
I think we talked about this on one show. It's like I was kind of, mentally going through maybe it was on Planet Rage, that show I do on Mondays.
Yes, you probably have me mixed up with somebody.
Could be. You might not. It might be. You might have been talking to Larry. But I'm like, okay, in my lifetime, there's never been a fluff, a first lady I'd like to. Until Melania. I mean, that's it. I mean, you go back and you're like,
you never had a thing for Barbara Bush?
No, well, that was exactly the question on the other show. And somebody was like, oh, you don't like her cankles? That was probably net. It's like, you don't like Barbara's cankles? I'm like, no, didn't do Barbara, want to do Laura, Hillary Clinton. Oh my God, I have nightmares about, Hillary Clinton.
Everybody has nightmares. They usually have castration involved.
Like nobody wants that.
No.
Yeah, no secret crush on Hillary Bemrose. No, that's just terrifying. That's when you wake up and scream.
How about Jackie O?
Jackie O, definitely, but that was before my time.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, in my time, Jackie, you weren't around for the Jackie O presidency.
Come see, come saw.
You're like, I've seen video.
I know who I have seen with Kennedy.
Oh, Maryland.
No. Well, yes, obviously, but no, other than Maryland.
Maryland
is what?
You said Maryland, the whole state.
Oh, Maryland. Other than Maryland, no. What's her name? The chick we just talked about in the house.
Chick, what's her name?
Old lady in the house.
Old lady in the house.
California.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy. Yeah, there's a photo of a 16-year-old Nancy.
No.
Yes, it's out there. Google it. 16-year-old Nancy.
I'm not doing a Google search for 16-year-old Nancy. I'm not
doing a search. Do it now. 16-year-old Nancy meeting JFK.
Man, this is
boy, does he have a big grin on his face. And 16-year-old Nancy did not look like 85-year-old Nancy.
No, that's a real surprise.
I'm just saying.
You're saying back in the day, you're like, I could have been a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been a Democrat.
Yeah. Oh.
But the as I actually put this into a search engine. That's not a good idea. But for the 2016, when they got out of the car, walking down to the inauguration, where Melania was definitely sporting a outfit that would have been perfect for Mrs. Kennedy.
Yeah. No, I think Melania has been dressing very well. I'm not a fan of that type of face. Like, it is a very stereotypical East European kind of face. And, with the high cheekbones and everything.
And it was a 17-year-old Nancy, according to her.
Oh, wow.
Very different.
Oh. Yes, back when the U.S. had a 16-year age of consent. They keep raising that.
They still do, because I would just look at that because of the Matt Gaetz story coming out.
Yes.
In Florida, I mean, they do have, it's 18 in Florida. All states are different, but Nancy really looks like one of the girls that was on like Dobie Gillis or something like that.
Totally.
Back
so
in the
you
day.
did look up the photo.
Yeah, but you told me to. I mean, I thought I had to do what you said.
Well, that's true. You keep thinking that. But you see what I mean? Like, Nancy was looking right at JFK's eyes there.
Like, hey, he wasn't even president back then.
What do you think the betting odds on that Nancy and JFK had a moment later on in somebody's hotel room?
I think anything's possible.
I think it's about 99.99%.
The age of consent thing, there are still, I think it's 31 states where it's 16.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people
just got
still
changed
have no idea.
in Afghanistan this month.
They brought it down, didn't they?
It is now down to 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it was at 12. It is now down to 9.
Well, I want to know if this is, I'm doubting it's a typo in this world population, worldpopulationpreview.com, where the age of consent thing is listed. They have acceptable age differences, which makes a certain amount of sense. So again, if you're in Alabama and it's 16, there's an acceptable age difference of 2, meaning if the girl's 15 and the guy's 17, cool. You ain't going to jail.
Yeah.
In Utah, that difference is listed as 10. So it's an 18 age of consent, but an acceptable age difference of 10, which means if the girl is 9 and the guy is 18, it's cool.
Yeah.
Not too sure what you're fucking doing, Utah.
I don't think anyone's looking for 9-year-olds in Utah, dude. I think you're kind of reading there a little extreme. No, the reality is this. It's really more of a 26-year-old guy who has already 2 wives looking to add a third who's 16.
True. Well, if you're 16, you get a 10 difference. So if you're 25, you can go 16.
Yeah.
In Utah, all bets are off.
That's all it is. Not a big deal.
I mean, it is definitely stranger in the areas, and I don't see, well, Illinois is 17, not 18, okay? But there is no acceptable age difference. So in some of these, when it comes down to no acceptable age difference.
Boy, you're going to have a great Google history today.
I know, right?
17-year-old Nancy. What is the age of consent in American states? What's the lowest state of all the states of consent? Just curious.
But when you see some of these cases where, like, oh, well, the girl was 17, but it was a teacher, okay, there I understand there's rules built in. But you see some of these where it's like the girl's 17 and the guy's 23, and you're like, I don't think that should qualify.
There's a funny video, like one of those short videos I saw yesterday, or maybe the day before. It was of a newspaper, headline thing, clipping, whatever, of 2 teachers investigated for having a threesome with a student. And then they've got the picture of the student and 2 teachers on there. And about 3 seconds later, you have a guy that looks exactly like the student just kind of come out the side of the screen and with a big grin on his face starts just slowly nodding his head. This is not a crime, people, okay? A teenage boy fucking two teachers should not ever be a crime.
Now, there's a nice so. What if the teachers were burly men and he wasn't?
Okay, well, that's different. But you know what I'm saying. If they're hot chicks, teachers. Look, teachers quite often, I mean, these days they all have blue hair and they're gross and disgusting looking. But back in the day, you had teachers that just came out of college teaching junior high school.
I mean, let's remember that Van Halen song. Got it
Hot for
made,
teacher?
got it made. Yeah, hot for teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, if your teacher's like 24 years old and you're a red-blooded 15-year-old, what, are you kidding me?
They call the kid the victim at that point, and you're like,
Yeah, victim my ass.
was it? Was it really the victim? And even the thing with Gates.
I get a 2-for-1 General Tso's chicken today.
Oh, well, there. I like a little.
lunch.
As long as there's no MSG, I like a little General
I love
Tso.
me some MSG. That's the best thing. It just makes me breathe deep.
I'm sure, because it doesn't give you the nice the aura where the whole lights. Fire. I mean, it's fun to see fireworks, but as you pointed out, it is causing brain damage every time it happens, or some kind of neurological
Only for certain
death.
people, not for people that don't have that gene like me.
True, you don't have the gene.
No, I'm missing the gene.
Missing the gene of the gene. I'm going to use that. We're going to use that recumbent bike artwork for today's show. Or maybe I should just auction that off, and not show it to anybody.
Auction it off.
Like CSB, do you want that as an NFT?
You do that, I'll put in a copyright strike.
That's me. It's
Nope. Prove it. I've got it. Prove it. I say I did it first, and you're copying me.
Using my
I've got the original photo. Clearly, you're copying me.
Yes, it was a derivative work of
Not
copyrighted
derivative
photograph.
enough.
No,
Looks just like the photo.
didn't even change
Down
a bit.
to the tracksuit. Down to the fucking tracksuit.
Down to the Russian flag flying off the bike.
Oh, well, I always fly a Russian flag when I'm biking. Are you kidding?
How does that go over well in Austin? To people just like, what's this guy doing?
It does. It does. People are like, yeah, we miss communism.
We're trying to get it back.
Yeah. I think Austin, incidentally, was one of the highest voting cities for Kamala Harris.
Oh, that's sad.
We had an 87% vote for Kamala here.
That is sad. That is sad.
It's par for the course, dude. What do you expect the Californians to be voting for when they move out of California?
I guess I was watching Candace Owens last night. She's been on she is a vindictive woman, I believe, which is
she's a woman. You could have stopped there, but yes.
Wow. But she has been in fuego lately.
Oh, totally.
And she pointed out that when you look, and again, these are exit polling and all that, so the accuracy may be a little off, but the results look like 92% of black women voted for Kamala. And just to be in that, she's like, either black women are geniuses or it's a very homogenous thing where nobody needs to even take you seriously because your vote is so far down that. I think it's simpler than that. They just don't read. Some do, some don't.
No, I'm pretty sure they don't, because
it's identity politics.
Exactly. It's literally disregarding absolutely everything about Kamala Harris and simply looking at doctored photographs of her where she looks dark. That's all it is. Because if you look at normal photographs of her, like outdoors with other people
in sunlight,
she is basically one shade lighter than I am.
After you're out on the bike and getting some tan.
Well, wearing my tracksuit. Yeah.
Right. Well, the white tracksuit makes you look much darker.
I think it's slimming. I mean, that's orange ponchos are definitely slimming. There's no two ways about that.
Well, Donald Trump
told that many times.
Well, he showed you that with the orange vest. He's like, orange is good.
Totally. Yeah. Orange slims you. Yeah.
But when you think about it, what if 92% of white men voted for Trump? What would the leftist media be telling you?
Well, that they've been right all along, and that 92% of Americans are racist, Nazi, homophobes,
right?
Who support Israel. Yeah,
but it's okay. I mean, that's the one thing I will never understand. It's like it's okay for somebody like Joy Reid to go out and say, "Well, I'm just going to focus on black men, black businesses, black this, black that," and we don't even invite your black
Who's Joy Reid?
She's on MSNBC. Who I believe
is that some kind of black network thing that I'm not aware of.
MSNBC, I think before. I mean, I don't know how quickly these things take place, but MSNBC is on.
It's NBC for the state of Mississippi?
Kind of. Well, it started out, remember, it was Microsoft NBC. It was a partnership between Microsoft.
Oh, my God. I do remember that. You're right. It was a Microsoft product. And that's why it's shit.
It's still around. Now it is the most leftist network that is on cable television. Comcast owns them, and it is doing so poorly that it is up for sale. And I've heard both Elon float, should I buy it? And Jack Posobiec, and like, should he buy it? So,
well, and Jeremy Boring said that as well.
So now imagine,
like, am I going to have to buy this thing now?
Yeah. Well, imagine if this goes conservative.
And then
that would
Tim
be hilarious.
Pool doesn't want to buy it, but he pointed out
Does he have
that
enough
their
money,
ratings for the entire day are lower than his ratings for a 2-hour show.
That I believe. Does Tim Pool have enough money to buy it yet, though? I'm not sure. I mean, he's doing
Tim Pool has an exaggerated view of how much money he's worth because
the Russians are paying him.
Look, here's the thing. He finally got a bit of the reality check, pointing out that he's a shitty manager, which he is. But yeah, from everything that he's talked about, and as far as the show and funding and everything else, he thinks that they're worth about 50 to 60 million. They don't do anywhere near that in terms of revenue. They're closer to about 6 million in revenue.
So it's liberal math where it's like, I just came out with a new product. It hasn't sold yet, but I think
this happens a lot. I see this all the time with business owners where their value of the business in their heads is more directly associated with how much time they think they're putting into it and how much their personal involvement is in the business than it has anything to do with the actual money-making ability of the business. Like, look, nobody gives a shit if you worked, 60 hours a week every single week, which is what Tim claims to be doing. Nobody gives a shit about that. What they care about is how many ads are you selling?
Right. Yeah, what money are you bringing in?
So he just turned down an offer of, what was it? He just did this literally last week. I want to say it was in the neighborhood of 6 million. No, it wasn't that much. It's probably about $3 million for 10% of the company.
And he thought that was a
too low
offer.
He said that was way too low.
It was insulting.
It was insulting. Yeah. It's like, okay, but then what you're saying is you think your company is worth 60 million. It's not.
They just believe that he could make it on his own better and more than, I mean, why would he even need the funding is the other question. Why would you need to take somebody in when your whole thing is built out of a garage? I mean, he's the one, when it comes down to it, podcasters do not have to spend a whole lot of money to be in the business of podcasting.
No. They really don't. But I think like he's made good money as an individual, but making good money as an individual is not the same thing as making good money as a company. Those are two different things.
Well, no. And he did this thing that I hate, which is I rarely watch, but I saw him do a clip that we also brought into Planet Rage of David Pakman, the liberal guy who was complaining about losing subscribers, and the Tim Pool thing that
10,000 subscribers.
If I lost 5,000 subscribers, like we have 2.5 million, so 5,000.
Yeah, you lost a quarter of 1%. Whoop-de-doo.
But why can't Tim Pool and one guy or maybe two guys talk about this? Why are there like 18 people on the show? And that's a slight exaggeration. I think it was 6 or 8, though.
It was 4.
And it seemed like 8. It's like, it's too much.
I don't think it's too much. I think it's about the right crowd. Sometimes the guests are really crappy and he'll never have them back again. Other guests are very entertaining and he should have them more often. But
it's like you don't need. It's kind of like you don't need
there's
many
nothing,
people to drive a show.
There's no formula for that show that somebody couldn't duplicate.
Oh,
honestly.
exactly.
It's all it is a 4 to 5 person. Let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it could be 5 people. Depends on whether he has 1 guest or 2 guests. But it literally is just a recorded podcast. Now, Tim is better than some people at not having to speak. Like some people, if it's their show, they feel they have to speak 51% of the time. Tim is not like that. There are quite a few episodes where Tim probably speaks about 10%.
Well, is that really working then? That's only 10%. You can't say you're working 60 hours if you're just sitting there.
Well, okay. I'm sure you know all about working, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
Hey, I worked at Circuit City.
I worked at Circuit City making carpets, man.
I did. Sold carpets. I never actually made them. It's one thing you didn't want me to do.
Because that would take skill. Yes.
Yeah. You did not. You did not want me doing the binding or anything like that. That takes, I've cleaned a few in my day, where I actually did the physical labor. I carried big rolls. You ever see the big rolls of padding?
Yeah.
I used to be in good enough shape to carry those things up like 30 or 40 stairs, whatever it was.
That's crazy.
Up into the loft if the machine, the forklift was out.
I hear when you do that, your blood pressure shoots so high up, it just fucks your eyes up.
It could. I mean, that is very possible.
Mm-hmm.
It is very well. That was just being a preemie and having very badly shaped eyes, which did that. My eyes are really, it's like Stewie's head. Think Stewie's head like more like a football than it is the round eye that it should be.
I've seen your head. I know.
And that is a problem for the retina. But I saw the retina guy. The good eye is stable.
Good.
The bad eye is like, well, that's within a couple of months, the cornea is going to be completely clouded over because we never did remove the oil. And he's like, if you really want, I guess it's a slightly cosmetic thing, although I think it's cool if the eye's going to look fucked up. But it's strictly a cosmetic thing. He's like, they're working on still the stem cell for the retina. Yeah. He's like, and if that comes here and when it does, you can
inject that in the eyeball.
Well, you could do a corneal transplant at the same time.
Oh. Okay.
So you can replace the cornea. It's like, it's not like, well, do you want, he's like, we could do another surgery and go in and take
which part is the cornea? I can't remember.
The cornea is, is it in front of the lens or behind the lens? I know you can scratch it. So maybe it's, this is eye talk.
It's got to be in the front then.
That's how you do it, everybody. Where is the cornea in the eye? The cornea, oh yes, it's a common, it's like the right in the front than before the lens. Okay. It's that little bit.
All right.
It's the protective layer of the eye. Yeah. But I get, you can, that is one thing they can do the transplants on.
Yeah. Can't they just stick some plastic on there and just be better?
Hey, I'm just like, he's like, they're doing the stem cell and they're getting, really good results. I think over in Europe, of course, because that's where it's all quick.
Mexico. There's a lot of stem cells in Mexico.
And I said, well, what's going to be first? That or is Elon's bionic eye going to win?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably you're still better off going if you could regrow the retinal cells on your own. Although the bionic eye, there's something to be said because then you've got great vision no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. And you got better vision because you got infrared and ultraviolet.
Dude, it would be so, okay. I know you're of the same age grade. you watch the Bionic Man, right? So, I mean,
yeah,
this is kind of like, can you imagine having the eye and there's like a really hot chick you see her like 50 yards away? It's going to be more like
Geordie LaForge, though, than the Bionic Man.
And you're like, choo, 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 choo. No, it's going to be a bionic eye, man. It's going to be great.
It'll be a visor. Yeah.
Choo, choo, choo. No, they're doing eye, not a visor. I mean, the visor would be cool, too.
Yeah.
But I think they are actually doing this in an individual eye from what I've seen.
Don't need it to be an eye. It really does not need to be an eye. It could be a visor.
Well, you do. You want it to be an eye. It's really better that way. Bionic
Not
Man.
Really?
Then
visor would be better.
Bionic Man. It's going to be great. You're going to be able to see Then you can be able to do the X-ray. You can be like, hey, I know what you're wearing, baby.
Totally not X-ray, but okay.
That's what everybody thought back in the day. Remember in those magazines?
You could see through clothes. What they didn't realize that was just millimeter waves.
Get that X-ray
X-rays.
specs. Yeah. Come on, get down. Get the down.
This is
dirty.
what TSA uses. This is how they hire people. But hey, do you want to work the millimeter wave machine?
Yeah, you want to work.
We can probably make that happen in a couple of years.
Yeah, you can see everything.
Oh yeah. There's nothing hidden on one of those things.
Fantastic.
In fact, it's so good. It's almost as good as the old Sony camcorders from about 20 years ago that had the infrared filter removed.
Yeah, you remember those? That was awesome. Else. That was awesome. People were like, wow, this is a revolutionary. How can they do this?
Oh, it totally is. Goes right to clothes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Don't believe everything you hear, people.
It was pretty amazing, though. I mean, you could totally see what somebody's not wearing underneath their skirt.
But so the cornea probably within a couple of months will be, completely clouded over because a little bit of the oil leaked up in front of the lens.
So you got to get an oil replacement
well, see, the oil was never it was one of the ways keeping that in would keep it stable, and it's fine in the eye.
Yeah.
But because the oil is in there, then it's going to get places they don't want it to be.
Well, I remember my dad talking about this, and then he said that it looked like the ducts that circulate the inner eye fluid get clogged up. And when they get clogged up, then there's no more circulation or filtering or cleaning of your eyeball fluid. I don't know what the technical term for that is.
Well, then for all those small floaters and stuff that might otherwise...
Well, everyone's got small floaters, but you start getting blockage.
Yeah, that's not good.
Parts of your retina are literally blocked off from seeing shit, and you start getting a darker, more fuzzy picture and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what we have in the good eye. A lot of good floaters going on.
Yeah.
But I'm just taking it one step at a time, hoping that technology gets it to the point where there's a fix for it. It's been 8 fucking years, man. I can't even believe it's been 8 years with the way this is, because really nothing is ever super clear, so you can't just watch TV and forget because the bad eye is always, especially if you're opening that eye.
Yeah.
You're always seeing a little bit of a haze over stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hoping for technology, man.
Yeah, we're all hoping. Exactly.
Come on, Elon. I mean, I may be dead first, but there's that picture of Nancy again. She looks very, very excited in her white gloves going just past her elbows and her little tight white dark dress and
hey now.
And you're right. The look from JFK is, hey, look at you.
I'm telling you, I was like, yep, that's how Nancy got to power.
Look
on her knees.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was Kamala.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kamala, Nancy, same difference, just 50 years.
And did you hear anything that Judge Joe Brown had a video? I haven't had a chance to watch it, that saying the Biden administration, they passed a bunch of laws that it was using the military on citizens, that was all based upon the fact that they thought Trump was going to lose.
Yeah.
And that,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was that all about? Do you know?
I don't think these are laws. I think these are just actions that they've taken that they're, any president can, but basically, getting the National Guard ready to be, it's the same shit that happens when there's a natural disaster, right? They can call in the National Guard to come in and you remember when we had this in New Orleans years ago,
right?
Where they called in the National Guard to basically go house to house and arrest people.
Well, because things were going insane
for no good reason.
Pretty much.
They totally didn't need to be there, but yeah, I mean, that happened and that's what they were getting ready for. They're going to arrest and round up all the conservatives.
Somebody on the Fediverse, Patrick at noauthority.socials, responded to the Let's Get Unrelenting, which has a link to noagenda.stream, and says, no chat room for this show, but just go to noagenda.stream.
So he asked that on the chat room, or he asked
it in the Fediverse.
Oh, Oh, you're still on that thing. Okay.
Well, I just was closing windows and I got into the Fediverse, and we borrow the No Agenda chat room because we don't really feel the need when No Agenda is not on at this time. Why people would want to log in and then change to a different sub-channel.
Change rooms. Why would you?
I don't know. All these shows do that. I think it's a narcissistic thing. I mean, that's why, you got bowl after bowl, abs in a six-pack. You got Hog Story,
just talking nonsense this
Lotus Effect. I mean, they're all they all got their own Podcasting 2.0. They got their own channels.
Why?
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
Why would we want an Unrelenting channel? We suck.
Yeah. Screw that. That's more work.
And then we'd have to, right. I mean, it's all, it would take 13 seconds to set up a room.
Exactly. That's 13 seconds that you don't need to do now.
I know. And I need time to figure out which machine I'm going to buy.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, no, you don't need time for that because you know what it's going to be. And you're just wasting time right now. Just click the button.
It's going to be the
Go
Mac
to
Mini.
apple.com and click the button.
Do I have the coupon code Gene? Sir
Yeah,
Gene will get you some money off.
Not anymore. It doesn't used to.
But I can't even plug my speakers in. I'm like, fuck that in my monitors.
In my peak years, I was buying about $35,000 of Mac's gear per year.
Oh, well, you should get a discount then.
I did get a discount.
I mean, now.
Oh, I know. Because I don't buy any Apple shit anymore.
Oh.
Last thing, I think the only thing I bought this year was one iPad. That's it.
Was it an iPad Pro?
Yeah.
That's the other thing I'm considering. It's like, okay. Because I'm still running on
That's more expensive than the Mini, which is crazy.
I know. Dude, that's exactly why I'm like,
You're an idiot. You should have bought a Mini like when we first talked about it. Just do it.
I know. Well, I should have bought one like 2 years ago.
Well, no, because then you'd be kicking yourself right now. But
right,
now with this current one that's out, the next one is not going to be a big leap forward. It'll be a marginal incremental step.
Well, because they're magically smaller now.
And they quite possibly may decide that $599 is just too low a starting price, and then just get rid of that.
Well, they're just trying to get everybody into the ecosystem, which I understand because that makes them more money.
Yeah,
up and down with the software. And
at $599, it's literally as cheap as what I paid for a steering wheel to drive trucks.
And that's not even for spaceships.
No,
although you could probably use it with your spaceships too.
I mean, I guess, but it's for truck driving.
Because I have to figure out, I'm like, okay, then the Moto.
And you can get a whole high-end, faster than any previous machine Apple computer for that.
And
that's crazy.
The hubs for these things are fast enough because I'm old school. I'm coming from a Windows ecosystem where, like with the Moto, I don't want anything else plugged into that port. I'm going to have to really double up on.
The Moto uses so little of the USB 3.2 port that it's inconsequential.
So you got that plugged into the front of the Mac Mini?
No, I have it plugged into a hub that sits on the back.
So do you use your front ports or no?
I don't have front ports. I have the old one.
Oh, they didn't have the ports.
They only have the back ports. Yeah.
Interesting. So what I really need is a hub, although I guess the Moto then can go in. You
probably get a couple hubs.
Because the front one is USB.
Yeah, you're going to want to get 2 to 3 hubs.
And plug those in.
Because one of the hubs you're going to get is a USB-C to USB old school 3.2 for all the shit that still came with like the Moto that still came with the old cable. Then you're going to want to have another hub for all the stuff that is newer and came with a USB-C cable. And you're probably going to want a third hub that has
the video outputs.
What's it called? No, not video. They can all have a video outputs. No, the I'm thinking Firewire, but it's not Firewire. Thunderbolt. You want another one that is only for your Thunderbolt devices, the high-speed devices. Because Thunderbolt is usually not something that the cheap hubs have.
No, and the newest, the Pro gives you Thunderbolt 5, man, not just 4, exactly. It's 5.
So the Thunderbolt hubs are like $150. The regular USB ones are like $25.
And then if I need new monitor, I mean, that's just the other. I know it's old.
God, I wish you lived closer. I would just give you one.
It's the antiquated.
I've got a 47-inch just sitting here doing nothing.
Nice.
Not really.
47.
I'm waiting until the garbage guys can take it away.
I mean, what was it? One of the Samsung or the LGs?
No, it was a monitor. It wasn't a TV. I can't remember the brand.
No, but they make
it works fine. It works fine. It was 60 hertz.
Ah, well, you don't like that. You want 120.
No, I swapped it out for 144 hertz.
So I was trying to figure out what monitor size would be equal to what I have now. And I don't think any of them quite get there, but it's within.
Oh, no, there's monitors bigger than what you got now available, dude. If you go to the Odyssey, Samsung Odyssey.
Yeah, even the largest one. That one was still in the width-wise, just measuring left to right.
Yeah.
Was about 8 inches overall shorter than what I have now with the 3 monitors. But it's close. I mean, that I don't know if I would even complain about losing.
It might be, but that monitor is 8K. I mean, it's literally the resolution of 2 4K screens
right next to each other.
One right next to each other.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind getting that thing. It's obviously an expensive monitor, but one of the reasons that I don't is because it would force me to also upgrade my video card, because if you have double the pixels of a 4K screen and you're trying to use it with a video game, well, you need to be running twice as fast just to have the same level of performance. And it's probably even non-linear, so it's probably even more than twice as fast to have that. So there's kind of an argument against it, frankly, for gaming.
Well, yeah, really, and that's what I've looked at it, because I don't want the gaming performance. I want just the plain old looking at text on a screen, web pages, that kind of thing. So I don't need. I would just get the biggest
4K monitor that you have seen.
The biggest 4K, like a monitor or a television, because a television you can go big.
It doesn't really matter if you get on my Mac right now. I have a 47-inch OLED Samsung. And but
how
that's
much
only
of the
60.
screen are you actually using?
All of it.
But how many?
Do you want me
windows?
to take a screenshot? I can show you a screenshot of what I have. I have pictures of Melania scattered all over the screen here now.
47, right?
That's
Boost.
funny how that works.
Man, all we had today was Boost from Comic Strip Blogger and NetNet. This is not a well-funded show.
No,
so nobody can complain when the show doesn't, except for Dale from Down Under. He's the only one where we skip a show. Could be like, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Dale's definitely the only guy that does that. But yeah, and if
get that screenshot, it's all that real estate.
I'm trying to remember how much I paid for this Samsung. It wasn't expensive at all. I want to say it was under $400.
Wow, that's crazy cheap.
And it looks very good. Like I said, the only real reason I'm not, and it's very thin. It's super thin. It's probably half an inch thick at 47 inches diagonal. But the only thing about it that makes it worse than my monitor on the PC is the PC monitor, which is not an OLED. It's an LCD, but it's a gaming monitor, and it goes to 144 hertz, which that one doesn't. But yeah, for normal computing, getting a 47-inch TV instead of a 47-inch monitor makes no difference. If you go much higher than that, then, I mean, honestly, with your vision, you could probably get a 60-inch TV and use that as a monitor, and it'd be just fine.
That's big.
At 60 inches, I might start seeing the pixels, but with your eyeballs, you're not going to notice.
Cottongen said, my monitor just broke via falling off the stand. How does that happen?
That could happen.
I mean, if it was one of these that you were like, the Vesa, where you got it screwed into something.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Just
all the monitors are on movable movable arms.
That would be the nice thing about having one big monitor rather than three. And it would also make it nice and easy if you wanted to flip back and forth.
Honestly, I kind of prefer three. It's not a total requirement because now I have the software to do this as well. But I always like just maximizing a window to take up the whole screen.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. And I know you can set zones.
Now you can, yeah.
But this was just old school.
Yeah. Yeah. Old school, that's why I have 6 monitors right now for what I'm doing.
Running a Russian scam empire.
Yeah, I'm playing a video game. What are you talking about?
Hello, welcome, sir. Would you like to buy some very good ponchos? Yes, please. Would you like to buy some ponchos? Buy some ponchos, please. If you get a call and it's from the Poncho King, you know you want to pick that call up.
Poncho King.
Gene's got a lot of ponchos to move. Christmas gifts. Ponchos are great. Don't forget, if you give a $20 donation, that was for this week. I guess nobody came in and wanted the ponchos.
Figure out how to disable the screensaver on my Android device.
I don't know.
If anybody knows, if there's anybody that's not a Apple person.
What Android device are you running?
It's a Android iPad. I don't know what they're called.
Oh, so just okay. So a tablet.
Yeah, that.
So they have a screensaver that comes on.
Yeah,
on a tablet instead of just like going out, turning off.
No, it goes out. I don't want it to ever go out. I want it to stay on all the time.
Oh well, there's got to be power settings.
Oh, there's a screen timeout setting. Let me just never sleep. There we go. Perfect.
Just like Gene, never sleep.
Mm-hmm. And then it does have a screensaver, which is a clock, by the way.
Well, is that technically a screensaver?
Well, it's called a screensaver on the device. I don't know. What do you want to call it?
I mean, my Android phone does have the always on. I mean, you almost forget that there were times that the screen couldn't stay on and like just show the time and date. So rather than being totally on or totally off.
Well, it's using a battery if it's on all the time, dude.
I know, but I don't care. It lasts days. So
that's because nobody ever calls you.
Of course. Why would I give anybody my number?
Has nothing to do with, no, I don't even have your number.
It's totally right. It's like, I don't want my number. Like, no, do not give that out. I mean, I can even get my Apple Watch, which is old now. It still can go for 36 hours plus.
Well, you must have everything turned off then.
No, I mean, it's doing all of the, it's even got the Mickey Mouse, which is moving all the time.
Oh my God.
So, and it doesn't even fully go dark. It stays.
You're a 14-year-old girl, aren't you?
It's
You've
Mickey
been
Mouse.
fooling me with a voice changer the whole time.
Mickey Mouse. Listen, that's it. It's hard to hard. He was telling you what time it is. You just touch it and it tells you what time it is in Mickey's voice.
Oh, it's a blind people watch. Okay,
exactly. So you don't have to be able to see it. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing, everybody?
That sounds like a mouse with a cigarette in his mouth.
I didn't say she was crazy. I said she's fucking goofy.
That was pretty good, actually.
See, thank you.
Yeah.
My number, in case there isn't a folk hour, is message me in the troll room, Pfeiffer. I'm always in the troll room.
Yeah, he is.
And there's a few people. I mean, your buddy, dude named Ben, he like kind of scammed me into adding him on Signal. So, I mean, there's that.
Oh, did he? Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, that's all right. He's never on Signal himself, so there's nothing for you to worry about.
So I should just start sending him things over and over.
Oh, he'll love that. You should. Yeah.
So everything you send me, I'll just be like, oh, I bet you Ben needs to see this too. And he'll be
Ben's
like, fuck you, Gene's sending it to me too.
Exactly.
But I have it now because on Signal, they let you do they let you choose a name now, so you don't have to give out your.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
So I should change mine to Sir Gene.
Yeah, you can get. Well, it's you can put in, and then it like adds a number after it.
I don't want to be Sir Gene number 27.
Yeah, I think it has to be. They add a number. They add a number to it. Notifications. No chats. Appearance. General. Where is it? It shows the phone number, which is a Google number. My device name. Why do you show my device name? Don't do that.
I don't see a device name. Where the hell? Yeah, I do have a device name.
It's
Okay.
under general.
I see that, but I don't see where you put in the name.
Where was it on here? Hey, we're going.
I like that you can disable access to the camera. That's good.
Well, especially for me, because I don't even have a camera on the machine.
Oh, well, then you don't have to disable it.
It makes it a lot. Maybe hit your, hit your, in the bottom left, the little picture of Sir Gene.
Yeah.
And then when that comes up, there should be a name.
Where it said, I already did change it to Sir Gene, apparently.
Do you have a number? Maybe you were the first one. If you're the first one.
I'm Sir Gene 33.
I'm Darren Oath, 33.
Damn. We're like brothers.
Brothers from a different mother. Now people can find us on Signal. Oh, geez.
I know, right? That's crap. Shit. I can't believe you just outed both of our signals. You better edit this shit out, man.
You think anybody's going to be like, oh, could you add me?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Now.
Yeah, start getting spam from, oh, yes, we have a new podcast that has shared their signals.
Would you like to listen
to
the Bemrose Hour?
Oh, God.
I know. Are you doing okay today, Bemrose? He was recovering from a fall.
No.
Very dangerous job now.
Yeah.
Oh, now I got a message request.
Is he still doing the grumpy news or whatever he was doing?
I think so.
Is he? Okay.
I got a message request from Eric.
There you go. Perfect.
Which is I don't know which Eric. Is it Eric PP? No, I don't. I think that's Eric with a C.
Huh.
It's like now people know.
Mm-hmm.
They know where to find you on Signal.
Yeah.
Oh, Cotton Gin. That's Eric. Okay. See, I didn't even know that's now you learn.
Mm-hmm.
He sent a message request. Now that isn't a will you add me request, I don't think. And then you're like, would I like to block, report, or accept? Well, I mean, I guess
I'd say report, probably.
I mean, it's good to keep in touch with Cotton Gin. I mean, he has the ability to play with the magical things in the background over on the
what Cotton Gin doesn't realize is now you're going to send them a message every week asking for money.
Yeah, it's like
it's part of the deal. You sign up, you get the spam.
You're like, that's right. If you're and the signal, that means it's like, have you donated to Unrelenting today? And then on Mondays, it's have you donated to Planet Rage yet today?
Yeah.
On Wednesday, have you donated to Random Thoughts yet today?
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, can we change? Because I'm going to forget whoever the hell Eric is. Now, can I put instead of Eric?
Yeah, you should be able to change his name. I've done that before where you can just go and tweak their name into something else.
Into something a lot more fun.
I think if you click on click on the conversation, then click on their little icon up top, then you can go and get a thing and you can
do the thing with the thing. Heck, I'll look at that.
I know there's a way to do it somehow.
You can have Marcus on red, chat settings, all media, disappearing messages.
Yeah, I always have that on.
Oh, here, nickname. So there we go. First name, last name, or note. So now if we just go Cotton Gin, we'll be like, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, now it shows up properly. And Cotton, as we speak, Cotton Gin is changing mine to big fucking asshole. And I mean, that way, nobody would be confused.
True story, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's your safety number?
What's a safety number?
Yeah, you click on my name, and then you'll get a safety number, and then you read that back to me, and I will verify that it's a safety connection. Because this safety number ensures that nobody can be a man in the middle, and it's an encrypted connection directly between two people.
And is that in the chat settings?
No, if you click on my name,
view
then
safety number.
Yeah, safety number, and just read that back to me.
Sir Gene will compare the numbers with their device.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It ends in 72972.
Well, yeah, but you have to read the whole number.
Now?
Yeah.
That's kind of boring, isn't it?
No. People like that.
This is the number station. 693-223-9469-01061-755-2394616-7080412722942.
I'd say they match.
We can mark that as verified.
Now we're clear verification to generate a new random number.
We are so verified. This is a great content.
Uh-huh.
I don't think there's
See,
ever been
this
a better
way,
show.
nobody knows what the secret number between us, and they can't possibly fake the connection.
It'd be the man in the middle now that they have the number.
Exactly.
Cotton should
Because
just
you
ISO
verified
the
it
last
with me.
60 seconds. So he's like, I'm going to write that number down. I'll show these sons of bitches. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Going to totally screw with their communication system.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
We can always do it again. That's the beauty of it.
That's right.
It's probably
We'll be verifying these all day long.
Signal never thought that somebody might go on a public channel and read the numbers.
Yeah. Well, the way you actually verify this is you compare that number to, I'll give you the frequency later, and then make sure that it's the same number, and you do it every Thursday.
It's the frequency, Kenneth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's all about the frequencies.
I like Signal, though. I do. It's one of the...
I do, too. I think it's one of the best spy apps out there.
I mean, of course, is it Russian? Is that the idea?
No, not at all.
No proof.
No, Signal's Israeli.
Oh, well, then it's completely safe.
Yeah.
As long as you don't attach it to your pager.
Yeah, be wary of pagers. That's a good point.
Cotton Gin says Telegram is the Russian one. Well, I have that one too. That's where I talk to Void Zero.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I love is all the people using Telegram that are not, let's say, for Russia winning the war.
It's a bad idea.
Well, they're sharing all these like maps and pictures and insights on Telegram. I mean, okay.
You don't think that Vlad is picking all them up?
Well, I don't. I think Vlad's pretty busy. But,
I mean, he's not personally picking them up.
Yeah, somebody's picking them up.
Now, if there's nude photos of Melania going around, Vlad probably has those being forwarded right to his account just to make sure, verify.
Just to make sure. Yeah, probably.
Does Vlad have a hot wife? I've never seen Mrs. Putin.
He divorced Mrs. Putin back about 6-7 years ago.
And has anybody seen her, heard from her since? Or
Yeah. That's all good.
Totally nice guy then. Yeah.
Yeah. His daughters were reasonably attractive back in the day.
Now, is there a new love interest as the Kremlin turns?
I think there were some photos like immediately after the divorce with some other women that were never confirmed whether or not there was something going on, but I don't think anything's officially been put out there.
So if you want to date Vlad, you got a chance.
Yeah. I mean, richest man in the world. Got that going for him. I think it's slimming.